Hi, it's Roger here with episode number 3 of Entrepreneur TV 2018. Celebrations are underway here in Singapore for Chinese New Year. Those are a whole bunch of bushes behind me in the 12 different animals. We have got today a whole bunch of investor meetings, which is why I am all dressed up. And I am going to share with you the third principle on this 26 episode series, and this third principle on how to 10 times your business starts you on the pathway, the most important pathway of all of your entrepreneurial journey. And this third principle is coming to you from Singapore, which is where I am right now. And the principle is perseverance. Now, I want to make 2 points about perseverance first, then a story, then the 5 steps to achieve it. The first one is the difference of perseverance and stubbornness. Right? Perseverance is when you're on the right path and things aren't working out and you keep on going. Stubbornness is when you're on the wrong path and things aren't working out and you keep on going. So I want to share with you later how you know whether you're on the right path or not, so you don't end up doing the wrong thing for too long, as opposed to getting on the right path. And more importantly, by knowing this, if you're on the right path, you don't give up. Right? That's the first thing. The second thing is why perseverance is so important, because all learning comes from perseverance. Academics need to know in order to do, whereas entrepreneurs need to do in order to know. The actual learning of being an entrepreneur doesn't come from books, it comes from actually taking the action. It's just like riding a bike. You can read all the books in the world about riding a bike, and when you get on, you still fall off. However, if you actually really focus at how you go about ensuring that you're on the right path and that you're learning as you go, that's when you're actually going to be able to cycle the bike or be able to run the business. I'm going to take you to where there's a beautiful view outside right now, and I'm going to tell you a story which actually comes from this whole idea of learning without really knowing what you're doing by knowing you're on the right path. I came out to Singapore for the very first time in 1997. So this is during the Asian crisis. I quit my job. I told Bernarda, my wife, this is it. I'm going to go out there. Give me a month. I'll figure out what my business is. I had no idea what my business was going to be. I'm going to come back, bring you out. Kathleen had just been born. We're going to go out there, live in Singapore. First, I've got to figure out a business. So I came out here looking like, where is there a gap in the market that I could actually fill? I was in the publishing industry at the time. So I said, okay, what I'll do is I will start up a magazine for something. Where's there a need in the market? Picked up the newspaper. To cut a long story short, after about 2 weeks, I realized that there was a real need in the market for a property magazine, because all of the ads in the newspaper were a mess. They were all over the place. If you wanted to find a property, it was really difficult. So I went and spoke to some property agents. I just kind of said, I'm looking for a property. Got to meet a few of them. I said, hey, would it be valuable to you to have a whole new magazine that could actually have pictures of the properties like they do in America and England? They said that would be really valuable. So I phoned up. I thought, I need some money for this. I phoned up someone that I had met years earlier, a mentor of mine, who had always talked about how he'd missed an opportunity in publishing, specifically in property. He was a property developer. I said, I'm in Singapore, and the opportunity that you missed in America is right here. Be my investor. He said to me, well, I'll be your investor if you can prove to me that you have the property market locked up. I said, well, how would I do that? He says, well, there's bound to be some kind of like an association where you can actually go and get them to, commit to you, come on board, and then I'll invest. I said, will you invest $200,000 for a percentage of the business? He goes, yeah, if you can actually get that commitment, I'll invest. I said, brilliant. Okay, so I then went out and said, well, where's this? So this is about, I didn't know what I was going to do and how I was going to do it. I just knew I was going to persevere. I was going to run across the road here. And what then happened was I then found out that there was an organization called IEA. I want to show you where their office is actually, which is why I'm going this way. And IEA was the Institute of Estate Agents. I contacted them. I said, I've got this great proposal for you. I got a chance to meet up with the board, went into their offices, met with the board. I said, I've come from overseas. I'm starting up this property magazine right here in Singapore. I'd love for you to be able to endorse this so I can go out to all of the agents and tell them that this is the official magazine for the IE. And I actually showed them all these beautiful pictures and all these other things, and they said no. And I thought, no, right. Well, thank you for your time. I said, why no? And they said, because we have people like you come in all the time asking for endorsements, and no, we're just not interested in that. So I left the room totally despondent. I thought, well, is that the end of the business? I thought, no, I had a commitment. I was going to come out to Asia. I was going to be in Singapore, the only English-speaking country in Asia, which was going to be the center for everything I grew in Asia. I had a bigger plan, and I wasn't going to give up. So as I walked out, I'm now sitting by the reception, just thinking, what's my next move? What should I do next? And I saw that the receptionist was there licking stamps onto envelopes, and I said, what are you doing? She goes, oh, these are all for memberships. We're trying to get new members. I said, oh, you need me? I thought everyone was members already. No, they have to pay memberships. We got to go out there, market all the time. I said, why did you do that? Why didn't you just wait for the members to come to you? Oh, because we need money. We've got budgets. We're not having our budgets right now. I said, oh, so you need money now? He goes, yeah. And suddenly I realized I'd been in there trying to sell my product to someone who had no need for that because they had their own problems, which was that they actually need money. I said, I need to go back in and see the board right now. She goes, really? I said, yeah, just give me 5 minutes. I went straight back in again. They were totally surprised to see me. They were still in their meeting. I said, I just want to tell you also, I want to give you money. They said, what? I said, I'd love to give you $40,000 for a contract where I become your official magazine. And they said, well, what's the catch? I said, no catch, I'll just give you the $40,000. And no one had actually offered them money before to be the #1 magazine for the industry. And they said, give us a moment. And they thought about it and they came back and said, yes, we'll do it. So I left there with that endorsement. I phoned up my sponsor, my new investor. I said, I've got their investment, just one catch. I've got their endorsement, but it's going to be $40,000. But you pay me the $200,000. It's worth 20% of that for me to be able to get that. He said yes. He gave me the money. That's how the Singapore Property Guide started, which was my first magazine right here in Singapore. At no point along that line could I have known what the strategy was going to be, because I didn't know what the IA needed. At no point would I have known what my investor would have needed. At no point would he have known. The only way to have known is by doing and by persevering as you're doing it, so that as you're actually going down that pathway, you're learning as you go. You're either earning or you're learning, provided you're persevering. This here used to be the sea. It's all reclaimed land. We're now down right by the marina. You can see here, that's Marina Bay Sands. Here you've got the entire island of Singapore, the city center, where just through perseverance, hundreds, thousands of entrepreneurs have actually built an incredible city on an island. Where I went to, IEA, was right behind those buildings right there. And that's where I did really my first business deal out here in Singapore and got started. I'm back here today because Genius U is going through a financing round where we had some great meetings and where we now have got the next step of our tech platform and how we're growing that around the world. And I'm about to get on a plane and head back to Bali where I'm going to meet up with our team at Entrepreneur Resorts. And all of this over the same time that all of this got built. I mean, obviously the CBD here was behind us, but all of this wasn't even here when I was here in 1997. And the world keeps moving on. Everything changes. But the one thing that will persevere is your legacy. It's what you stand for. It's why you do the things that you do. So that's the final thing that I want to say, is that there's 5 steps that you can take. And I call it the Genius Spiral, which allows you to learn through doing, which allows you to persevere. And I'm going to show you a little screenshot of the Genius journey here. And you can see these 5 steps all begin with C. The first one is clarity. Clarity of where you are today. So that's why we actually have all the different tests and assessments to find out what you're strong at, to find out what you are passionate about, your purpose. The second thing is certainty of where you're going. In my story, I was absolutely certain, even though I didn't know how, but I was going to do it anyway. And then it's about connection. You're not going to do it on your own. So who is it that you need to connect with to start joining the dots? Then collaboration, by bringing others on the journey with you as well. And the final one is contribution, which is what are you giving back? It was a story about what I thought could happen when it came to all these buildings, when it came to the entire real estate industry right here in Singapore that actually got all of the agents behind the magazine and made it a success. It was as a result of my vision and certainty that we could actually make a difference in the world that Genius U's been able to grow. And in the same way, you have your own vision, you have your own legacy, which comes down to whether or not you're willing to persevere. Because fundamentally, at the end of the day, it's your legacy that endures. So those 5 C's allow you to go through a pathway where you don't need to have all the answers when you get started. You just be absolutely certain on the outcome, and then you're going and bringing other people on that journey with you. And that's the hero's journey. So do post down below whatever is your biggest learning from this video, do go watch the other 2 videos if you haven't done so far as well. If you're going to be in England, I'll see you at one of our events coming up in the next couple of weeks. If you're going to be in South Africa, I'm going to be there in February. Look out for whenever I'm going to be in your country or city. Let me know wherever you are in the world, and I'd love to connect and share your journey, your perseverance, and whatever it is you're doing or someone you know where you want to be putting through that message. Do not give up, because it is all worth it at the end. Do send them this video. See you on the next episode of Entrepreneur TV.